I'm a recovering dirtbag, screwed up my whole life. I believe you can have pivot points. How do you know you can trust Newt Gingrich? Wife stuff aside. Let's look at Fannie and the money. Can you trust him?
Well, that's a big issue because it isn't like this is something when he was young and foolish. It isn't like this is something that was a long time ago. He took over $1.6 million from Freddie Mac during the mortgage meltdown. The meltdown had occurred, and he was taking $1.6 million to influence senior Republicans to keep the whole game going in Washington, D.C. He didn't want Republicans to pull the plug on Freddie and Fannie. That's what the problem was. And I was fighting to shut him down. I was fighting to put him into bankruptcy at the time.
You know Peter Schweitzer.
I love Peter Schweitzer.
Okay.
I love
he was on last night. And do we have the audio from Peter from last night? Watch this. Listen to this clip right up here. Is there one person that has the character that you have seen that is not playing this game?
There are some members of Congress that, out of principle, don't trade stock. Michele Bachmann does not trade stock, for example. Ron Paul is not an active or aggressive stock trader. There are people in both parties that don't do it.
Good.
But there's nothing illegal in doing this.
I know. Okay. The reason why we had that conversation was there's no way to fix our system with all the people in Congress getting rich. There's nobody telling you the truth. If Newt Gingrich is taking $1.6 million while the thing is melting down, how can you trust that you're going to get the truth from him or anybody else? There's no way to fix this system with all the money and the, quite honestly, legalized bribery that's going on.
Right. It's the influence peddling. That's all that Washington, D.C. is about. It's crony capitalism. And it isn't just $1.6 million. He's taken in his portfolio, it's over $100 million because his headquarters is located on the Rodeo Drive of Washington, D.C. It's called K Street, and that's where the Newt Inc. basically is, and it's over $100 million for influence peddling, and a lot of that money went to health care because he was the grandfather of the Obamacare mandate. Now, really, our nominee is going to be the originator of the idea to force people as a condition of citizenship to have to purchase a product that government says? I don't think so. That person isn't very likely to repeal Obamacare. This is socialized medicine. We only have one chance to get rid of it.
He said to me that he's just reasonable. That you can't do. He doesn't want a radical solution on either side. As I see it, we're a body full of riddled with cancer now. Cancer. The body's going to die. The time to remove a little bit of that skin or the time to irradiate a little bit over here is over.
It's
over. Now it's radical surgery.
Yeah.
How, as President of the United States, would you prepare the Republic for radical surgery that doesn't lead us to what's happening in Greece today?
Well, think about the analogy that you just gave. If you have a patient that is riddled with cancer, but there's a chance that you can save the patient, the oncologist, the doctor, sits the patient down and the patient's spouse and says, these are your options. This is what we can do to try and cure you or at least extend your life as long as we can. That's what the next president of the United States has to do with the American people.
Let's have that conversation. Because you overcome. Let me play the opposite side. Michele, we will lose the essence. I don't believe a word of this. I just want you to know. We will lose the essence of who we are if we are not taking care of the poorest among us. You want to cut. You want to cut health care. So you want to have more people on the streets. It's going to be not only will more people die, but also there will be higher costs because people will get their health care from the hospitals. If you want to cut back all of the services, how many children are going to starve? We have children in poverty on the rise like never before. How could you possibly cut this and not lose the essence of who we are?
Well, the answer is people will be cared for. The question is who will care for them and how will they care for them?
Charitable donations are down.
Well, but right now it's government that pays for all of these costs. And what we need to do is shift to neighbor, family to family. We need to be the solution, not government the solution. I'll just give you one personal example. My husband and I took unwed moms into our house, and we had helped them out when we were first married. We took them to pro-life centers. We tried to be not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. Later on, we took foster children into our home. We tried to be part of that solution. So we weren't just talking about loving and caring for our fellow man. We actually tried to be a part of that solution and bring these kids in and love them and care for them and offer them what they needed more than anyone. And that's the security and knowledge that someone had their back.
You will, by doing that, you will strengthen religion. Religion can be oppressive. Whose religion is it? Is it your religion? Somebody else's religion? Think of all the bigotry and the hatred and the bloodshed that has happened in the name of God.
Look at all the wonderful things that have happened in the name of Jesus Christ or in the name of God. If you're, if you're Jewish, take a look at the hospitals that have started, the wonderful charitable organizations that have started. This is where really compassion begins. It's out of our faith to help our fellow man, not to hurt them. That's really a false argument that a lot of people make.
Have you read? Let me not play devil's advocate here for a second. Have you read David Brogg's book In Defense of Faith?
I haven't.
Let me get you a copy of that.
Okay.
You should read that. It is.
Okay.
It talks about that false argument that it is the Judeo-Christian value that actually has changed the world. Even Gandhi, in his own writings and his own words, goes back and says it was the teachings of Jesus. It was the Judeo-Christian values that made this work. So it's a good argument.
It's true. You see the explosion of science, education, healthcare, the arts. You see the explosion as you have the expression of faith.
Yesterday, Tiffany, do we have the question to the press secretary of the president about the new bill that was debated in Congress?